Welcome to the LeadHer Shift Podcast. This is what I like to call a safe space. A space for bold women building their power, presence, and purpose from the inside out. A space where we explore what it means to lead with clarity, courage, and conviction. So wherever you are in the world, hey, I'm your host, Alian Ollivierre, and I am super honored that you're tuning in today. Hi guys, Alian Ollivierre here, back again with LeadHer Shift, another dynamic woman from around the globe. We've been talking to so many, but Jacqui is particularly special. She's a mindset mentor and holistic healer. I just wanted to make sure I got it right. And we're going to delve into what that means, right? But first, let me introduce you to Jacqui. I'll let her share a little bit about herself and a little bit about her story, and then we'll go deeper into what that title actually means. So over to you, Jacqui. Talk to me about when we define Jacqui. So let's put it this way. What are two words? If you could even narrow it down to two, what are two words that describes Jacqui?
Inspired.
Okay.
And happy.
Inspired and
happy.
Happy. Okay. Why happy? What is it that makes Jacqui happy?
Well, I really am very blessed to be at such a beautiful point in my life where everything has just fallen into place, not by accident, by a whole lot of work and a whole lot of planning.
Yeah.
But I'm at this place where the things I've been wanting to create, I've created, and I just love every aspect of my life right now, from personal, professional, romantic.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I feel like in a way, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but in a way, you feel complete, is what I'm hearing, at least. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, complete, blessed, just content. I mean, life is good.
Life is good. That's amazing. So, in tracking back, we've been dealing, and this is very off topic, but we've been dealing with COVID, and for most of the year so far, at least. And then you say, I'm happy, I'm complete. So what makes that so, even in light of all the challenges that has been happening globally? Like, has something shifted since COVID, or it didn't matter as a result of COVID?
So, COVID is definitely a very traumatic thing for many people, and many people are dealing with a lot of loss and suffering, whether it's income loss or loss of people that they care about.
Yeah.
And loss of freedom, right? Because we're now living in a very different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I feel completely blessed that my life haven't changed that much. My health is fantastic. All the people that I love, their health is fantastic. I have an amazing relationship with my husband. We have stability in our income. We both work from home. We really enjoy being with each other. I mean, it could be a lot worse. And I know there's a lot of people who are not in such great circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And my heart breaks for them. But again, I'm just grateful that my husband and we worked really hard to set up our life the way that we have it right now.
Yeah.
Actually just realized our dream just last year.
Really?
right before COVID. So we've been planning on him leaving his corporate work. I brought my business online 3 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'm not quite ready to leave corporate, because he's a C-level executive and makes really good money and he have a good title. So he wasn't ready. But we've been working at it, and finally he was ready, and he retired at 47.
Wow.
And so we started doing what we dream of doing for a long time, is we sold everything, moved ourselves, our 4 cats, and our dog into a motorhome and traveled the U.S. And we did that for 7 months straight.
What?
Right? It was you. It was just so much fun. And so and then we went back to Florida, kind of like, to stabilize and rework some things and get some more things set up so that we can travel again. And we were supposed to be on the road in April for the rest of the year. And then COVID happened. So
Yeah.
obviously not on the road. But again, we are so blessed that we have the opportunity to do what it is that we want to do. And that is just work in a way that's fulfilling to us rather than work to make ends meet. So
Yeah.
I feel completely blessed.
That's so funny because I was literally in the process of asking you what's a fun fact about you. And I just feel like just deciding I'm going to travel the way how you did and in the way you did is even bigger of a fun fact than I thought. Um, what was that like though? Like in having such a journey. So let's start with the journey itself. In having such a journey like that, is there any challenges that you came up against or any triumphs you had, whether with your mindset shift
Mm-hmm.
or with something that actually physically happened? Like, is there anything that you could share about the experience that you had?
The experience being the RV life.
Yeah.
It was a huge challenge. I'm not going to lie and say it was just rosy and perfect.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge is my husband. um, he had a big identity shift. In fact,
Yeah.
he felt like he lost his identity. And so there were just a lot of time where he's like, what are we doing? I know we talked about this. I know we planned this, but are we being responsible?
Right.
I just left this amazing corporate work where everything is guaranteed. Well, not really guaranteed. We found out, right?
Yeah, true.
But at that point, he's like, income's guarantee, health insurance guarantee.
Guarantee.
I just go in the office. I know what to do. I've been doing it for 30 years, and what are we doing?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that. Our relationship struggled a little bit at first because he was just not happy.
Mm-hmm.
We both expected that once he retired, we'd be like, oh, party time.
It's not as easy as that, is it?
I was until he wasn't.
Yeah.
And I love him so much. And it's hard to see the person you love struggling so much.
Right.
And for me, because I'm a mindset mentor, and one of my biggest goals in working with all of my clients is helping them to create internal peace.
Right.
And so that's what I love doing. That's what I'm really good at. And that's something I couldn't help my husband do. And so there was a lot of that mindset stuff, like you're talking about, like, really? Am I really that good of a mindset mentor, holistic healer if I can't help my husband? But of course, we all know you can't help someone who's not ready for help.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. He needed that time and space to figure things out for himself. He needed to mope. He needed to go through all of those different emotions that are normal he basically had an identity loss.
Yeah.
And even when you want that identity loss, when it happens, it's still like, oh, that's not what I thought it was going to be like.
Yeah.
And you're never quite ready.
Yeah.
And
in
so
a lot of ways, he couldn't see around the corner. And when he got around the corner, it was like, wait, hang on. This is not what I pictured in my head,
Right. And so he had his struggles, but now he's on the other side of the other corner. And I tease him all the time. I'm like, you want to go back to work? No. Why would I want to do that? He's like, no, we've got it good. I know that everything that we worked for, we really do love. And he realized, he struggled, which I totally gave him space
to do that.
After my initial, like, I need to do this for him. No, I don't.
Yeah.
He needs to do that for him.
Yeah.
And once he's ready, I can step in and give him extra support. But, he has to go through the process himself.
Yeah. And one of the things that that story reminds me of is that, one, you don't know what you don't know. I mean, you just don't know what you don't know. But also, sometimes the most obvious ways of helping, especially our loved ones or our partners, team members, is in knowing when not to help them, if that makes sense, because sometimes I always say this, all help isn't helpful, and oftentimes the way we think they need help isn't necessarily how they need help or require help. So that's a very powerful point. But I want to get back to Jacqui. Jacqui is a
Wait, can we
multi.
finish that thought though? Because I think
Yeah,
like listeners could benefit so much from that. Um, we tend to help people the way we want help. When in
right.
reality, most people just want to be heard.
Exactly.
Not looking for you to solve their problem. They just want that moment to vent, to know that their thoughts, their feelings matter. And so one of the best things that you can do for your loved one is just really listen
Yeah.
and ask this very important question that we don't tend to ask. How can I support you?
Mm.
And then let their answer be the answer and stop second guessing them.
Yeah. 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 Literally let them share or tell you how they need it
Right.
and not decide for them. Yeah.
And oftentimes they'll say, oh, just listen. I just need someone to listen to. I need someone to bounce these ideas off
Yeah.
of me. And so I teach my clients that, and down the road a little bit, I remember, oh yeah, huh?
Mm.
The best thing I can do for him, is this. But sometimes when you're in the thick of it, you get caught up with all the emotion and all the stories and all of that, and you forget some of the tools that you know. So
Right.
you realize, okay, I've forgotten, but now I remember. It's always a good time to kick that in gear and see where it goes.
Yeah. And I think also it comes down to personality types too. Understanding that different personality types receive or accept help differently, but also different personality types give help differently as well. And knowing how to maneuver that or adjust that, no matter what the setting is, whether it's a personal family member or a team member as part of a corporate team, like it's important to kind of understand who's around you,
Mhm.
understand what they need exactly, you know.
Exactly. I love it.
So Jacqui, you are a multi-award winning author. Like, talk to me about that specific.
Thank you. I have 16 awards for 3 of my books.
Six.
Um,
Okay, wait, stop. Let's pause. So that 16 awards. That's crazy.
16 awards for the books, and I'm just super proud of them because if you were to ask me before I wrote the book if I would have ever imagined I would be an author, I would think
Yeah.
I'm nuts. I never dream of being an author. I never thought I was a good writer. I never see myself as, a teacher of any
Mm,
sort for a very long time.
right.
Even though I've been teaching ever since I was 23, I just never really realized I was teaching. I
Right.
never gave myself that acknowledgement.
Mm.
But yeah, so I have 4 books now. The 4th one haven't won any award yet. It just came out last week.
Okay. Give it
I,
time.
Fingers crossed. That one actually is probably not going to win award. It's not an award type book because it's a companion journal to my very first book.
Right. Okay.
And so the first 3 books, all my books are written to teen girls. And
Oh,
yeah, it's a population I'm super passionate in serving. And we can
right.
talk about the why if you want to know the why.
Yeah.
But all the books are for teen girls, and the goal of my books are really to help them to understand how their mind works so that they can be in control of their thoughts, their feelings, their actions.
Mm,
And with those tools, they can build their self-esteem, self-confidence, self-love, and could then go after the things they want with courage, with confidence, with clarity. And so I wrote it for the teen girls, but the content of the books are what I teach in my private practice, which is primarily adults.
okay.
So same
But
content written for teens.
why teen girls though? Is it yeah, why teen girls specifically? Why not women or?
Because I was once a teen girl,
Right.
and I was once a very struggling teen girl, and I did not have the resources, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I put my life in jeopardy. I put my mental health in jeopardy. I made just terrible decisions. And at that point in my life, I didn't know where to go for help. But to be completely truthful, I'm not sure if I would have sought help, if something was available, because of the fear of judgment, the fear
Right.
of rejection, the fear of being shamed or shunned, was pretty strong. And so because of my experience as a teenager, I made a decision very early on, in fact, at 17, that I was going to be a source of support for other teens.
Right. So I think it's fair to say that your 17-year-old self will definitely be proud of you today.
She loves me. I love her.
Of course. So, do you mind sharing at least one of the experiences that you would have gone through as a teen and how it would have led you here today?
Okay, I will go to the one that is probably most shocking. And I laugh when I tell the story. It's not because at that moment it wasn't painful or scary. It was very traumatic.
Right.
But again, on the other side of it, I've learned so much. And because of that experience, I am where I am today. So I'm actually very grateful now for the experience. Back then, no, not so much.
Yeah.
And I never, ever want any teen girl to go through this, So I was a rebellious, troubled kid. I had depression. And usually with depression, there's multiple ways of reacting, but two big chunks is this: rebel like crazy or withdrawn.
Right.
And I was the rebelling one. So I was the one that was bullying other kids at school because I felt so weak, so unsure, so scared of everything that I felt like if I wasn't this big person, I was going to be picked on. And it was just the mentality I had was killed or be killed, right? And so I went around school picking on people, picking fight. I mean, I was just a mess. But inside I was dying because that's not who I am. I mean, all I really wanted was someone to acknowledge me and to say, hey, Jacqui, you're okay. I see you. But nobody saw me. All they saw was this very angry, obnoxious girl. So I was dismissed constantly for being the troublemaker. Whereas again, I was just a wounded little girl needing love and attention and not knowing how to seek it. And so I met this man who we quickly became sexually intimate.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to have a baby. I know I don't want to have a baby. I need to get on birth control. I knew that much.
Yeah.
And so I went to the local Planned Parenthood 3 times. The first 2 times I was so scared. I mean, I got there and I filled out all the paperwork and I snuck out. Because I was like, I'm doing the wrong thing. I felt so judged. I felt dirty. I felt like, I was a sinful person. So I snuck out. But then I'm like, I don't want to be pregnant. I have to get on birth control. 3rd time, I forced myself to stay, and I was terrified because back then, before you get on birth control, you had to go through a pap smear.
Right.
And being young and just having had my first lover and being very modest, I don't want anybody down there.
Yeah.
They're going to put a what in my what? Right?
It's true.
And so I finally stayed, and I'm in the back office, and they had me undressed, bottom down, and they gave me this most amazing magical paper sheet to cover myself. Not magical at all. It was the worst thing, right?
Yeah.
And so my legs were up in the stirrup. I'm covered by this very thin paper thing. Male doctors walked in, picked up my chart, took a look at it, walked towards me, slapped my tush with it, and said, get dressed. You don't need birth control. You're pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Right? And talk about,
yeah, because he's like, what?
I mean, like, everything about it was shocking. Like, he slapped my butt.
That's what I mean. Like, how, loose.
Right? I mean, there wasn't even a hello. I was already scared out of my mind. And then having this strange man do that to me was just like, what? And then to say, get dressed, you don't need birth control, you're pregnant.
Pregnant, yeah.
That is never a way anybody wants to hear they're pregnant, right? When
It's
they're trying
true.
to get birth control. And so that was the start of my misadventure, for lack of a better word, with the healthcare system. So throughout my whole pregnancy, I felt completely judged. I mean, I felt like people were treating me with complete disrespect and
Mm.
very uncaring, just, demeaning.
Yeah.
When I was giving birth, do you have a child?
Yes, a little girl.
Well, you know what childbirth is like, and congratulations on the little girl.
Thank you.
So, childbirth is no fun, right?
No.
So,
Don't get me started. It's a very scary experience,
I'm
but very rewarding
16.
at the same time. It's
Yes.
weird.
So I'm 16, okay? And I'm giving birth. I'm in the process of giving birth, and I'm scared out of my mind. I'm like, pretty much I had sex, and the couple weeks later, I found I was pregnant. That's how fast my journey went. And then, months later, I'm having a baby.
Right.
So I'm like screaming. It hurts so much. And I was just being a scared person. And the nurse had to put a catheter in me as part of the process. And
Yeah.
I'm squirming. I'm trying to push her hand away. And I'm shielding myself because I'm still very shy and, modest. And she looked at me and she said, "Stop squirming. A hole is a hole when I can't see it. I'm going to shove this somewhere."
Okay.
Right? I'm like, okay, so this is a nurse who is there to take care of you.
Yeah.
And again, it's that whole demeaning thing over and over again. And so I was like petrified. I'm like, do whatever.
Yeah.
And then again, during the birthing process, I'm still screaming and yelling because it hurts so much, and I have no coping skills, and I have no clue what was happening to my body. And I'm yelling and screaming. Another nurse said, "Stop acting like a baby. You're about to have a baby. You got yourself into this. Now just shut up." Oh,
Sorry,
right?
but these things
And they were just
really,
like,
really upset me, honestly, because I feel like I understand how there may be disappointment in some instances because of your age, but I don't like when you dehumanize anyone just because of what they're going through. Like,
and they shouldn't even be, judging me at any level.
right?
Okay, let's say that is probably the worst mistake a young girl can make.
Yeah,
Let's give them that. All right, so she make a mistake. What are you going to do now? Kick her?
exactly.
Help her?
Exactly.
But so yeah, those moments were incredibly traumatic. They were very fearful, and I was very ashamed of myself and my decisions. But because of those experiences, I knew I did not want another girl to go through that. And I
Right.
knew I was going to do exactly everything I can to prevent that. And so after I gave birth to my son, that was in May, in September, I took my GED, went back to college. I dropped out of 10th grade, but then I got my master at 23 and I became a nurse practitioner. Thank you. So like, again, horrible situation that nobody should go through. But again, at this point in my life, I'm just incredibly grateful because I don't know where I would have been and what would have motivated me. And, and
'Cause
life is just,
I was gonna ask that. Do you think that experience, because you could, there are many teen moms, there are many young girls who get pregnant, right, for different reasons, and they can either go either way. So you can go down the track of letting this kind of dictate your life and keep repeating the cycle of doing that, or go maybe the direction you went in, which is make sure I push myself and become more ambitious and want more for myself. Like, could you maybe walk me through what created that mindset for you?
I would credit my mother.
Mm.
Um, I hated her when she was instilling those skills in me.
Yeah.
And that was part of my depression was, her focus on education and her focus on family and her focus on not shaming the ancestors and
Mm.
a lot of different pressure. So, being a young girl, all I wanted to do was be like my friends.
Yeah.
And I came to America when I was 9 from Vietnam. So I was an immigrant. a refugee actually. I came
Right.
to America when I was 9, didn't know the language, didn't know the culture, and was just starting to kind of, get into a groove. And I just wanted to be like my friends.
Yeah.
I see all of these, like back then, I'm like, all these gone, blonde goddesses.
Mm.
And I just want to be like them, the fair skin, the light hair,
Here. Yeah.
and they get to wear makeup and designer clothes, and they date and they hang out at the mall, and they have all of these stuff. Where
Mm.
my mother, the only thing she cared about was total obedient and education.
Mm.
And then she drilled that into us. And she picked us up from school because she's afraid that the after school moment we might get in trouble. So she's like there, and we had to go from class to the car. We had a few minutes to do that. And we get home and we just got, like 10-15 minutes. You just like leave our stuff, maybe get a quick bite. And then we were forced to study for the next 3-4 hours.
Mm.
We would sit down, and my mother's voice, study, study, study. And I hated her for that. But then once I got pregnant, the biggest thing, not when I got pregnant, I'm sorry, when I had my son, the biggest motivating factor was him. It's like the moment I laid eye on him, it was just, everything changed.
Mm.
And I still get very emotional about that because he saved me.
Right.
I don't recommend getting pregnant as a way to take care of yourself ever.
Right.
But in my situation, when I heard him cry, when I held him, when I looked into his eyes, something just flipped inside.
Mm.
It was just that moment. It was, it's not about me anymore.
It's like that light switch went on, and it's like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
entire human I have to take care of, and
And this perfect being is right here, and he's dependent on me.
Yeah.
And if I continue to be destructive, what am I doing to him?
Yeah.
And I grew up like 10 years in an instant.
Wow.
And that doesn't mean I didn't struggle as heck. I sure
Yeah,
did.
yeah, for sure.
At least having him let me down that path, and then having the background that my mother instilled in us of how important education was and how important family was what helped me to go that one route versus the other route of having multiple kids.
Right.
Making bad choices.
Do you think that it was like that was the defining moment that you understood what leadership meant, or is there another defining moment as you grew up that kind of highlighted that for you?
I think the word leadership for me has always been a really big word.
Right.
When I think leader, I think like presidents of companies. I think
Right.
presidents of countries, So for me, I never saw myself as a leader until more recently in my life, and maybe past 5-6 years that I see myself as a leader. And I really embrace that. Like a moment ago, I said I didn't see myself as a teacher, but as a nurse practitioner at 23, I teach every day.
Yeah.
I teach people how to take care of their mental health, their physical health, take care of their illnesses. So I've been teaching for a long time, and that is definitely, a leadership quality that I never understood as being a leader.
Yeah.
And the mother role was just a mother. I never thought of a mother as a leader, but yeah,
as a leader.
She's definitely a leader.
Of course. Of course. Because leadership is really influence, you see? And once you're influencing, you're pretty much leading.
Yes. And unfortunately, you're going to take it to that level. When I was 14 and being a big bully, I was a leader of the wrong pack.
Yeah. Yeah, you were. You definitely were. And how do you think that has shaped what you do now? Like, because you said in the last 5 years or so is when you truly understood leadership or truly understood what it means. How has that shaped you today, 2020? that
Well,
understanding?
yeah, that's a really good question. I think, first of all, when I understood myself as a leader, it's after I left my medical practice. So I
Right.
became a nurse practitioner at 23. At 32, I think, I started a medical clinic for teenagers.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
I told you I wanted to be that support system for teens. And
Yeah.
I really thought I was going to retire as a nurse practitioner with multiple teen clinics because I loved everything about it. And the clinics I had was focusing on pregnancy prevention, STD prevention, and a whole lot of mental health.
Wow.
And then I started realizing something that impacted me and kind of pushed me into this bigger leadership role. And that is, I kept seeing the same patients over and over again. I didn't realize
Mm.
it until I realized that, okay, I've seen her a year, I've seen her 3 years,
Right.
she's been with me 5 years, you know, and they're back for antidepressants, they're back for anti-anxiety, for ADHD medications, or any other number of mental health type medications. And then I started hearing too, at around the same time I made that kind of a connection, I started hearing the teens say things like, well, if I didn't have depression, I could do this. I could totally
Mm.
do that if it wasn't for my anxiety.
Mm.
Jacqui says, because I have this, I have to be on this medication, you know? And then they kind of all came together for me. They kind of hit me pretty hard. And I went into another little minor depression
Right.
because I went into healthcare because I truly wanted to help people.
Right.
And then at that point, I felt guilty. I felt like I didn't help anybody.
Yeah. You
All I
feel
did,
responsible in a sense, yeah?
very, very, because people say, like, Jacqui said I have to be on this medication for 6 months, 9 months, or whatever. And so I just gave them a sentence.
Yeah.
You are depressed and you need to be on this medication for 6 months. I gave you a 6-month sentence.
Mm.
And so I started feeling really, really responsible for that and got kind of depressed about it and started searching for alternative options because I'm like, there has to be something better.
Yeah.
Has to be something that can truly help a person versus mask the symptoms. And that's
Mm.
what all the medications were doing. They were like taking the edge off. They were masking the symptoms without resolving the bottom line issue. And so I started researching. And the more research I did, the more out of the box stuff I found. And coming from such a science base, remember, I was a nurse practitioner at 23. So my whole entire adult life was science.
With science, yeah.
And then people are talking about hypnotherapy. Wait. Hypnosis are things that, happen on the stage where you quack like a duck, not how you help a person
Look at that.
overcome depression, right?
Right.
And then I learned about EFTs, like you tap on people and they feel better. What? None of it make any sense. But I was blessed with a huge sense of curiosity. So I kept researching and I kept an open mind and I kept going to events and I kept learning, even though the whole time I'm like, yeah, you're crazy. This
Mm.
can't work. But there was something that was interesting enough for me to keep being curious. And the more I learned, the more I realized we don't know what we don't know.
Mm. That's it.
And be willing to learn, be willing to be a beginner, be willing to question what you think you know.
Yeah.
And as I kept that open mind and I witnessed, through my training, how I'm transforming
Right.
and how the other students are transforming. And I was just blown away. And then when I started my practice, my holistic practice, I was just floored. I'm like, why don't they teach this in school?
So before you go on, I kind of wanna, especially for the listeners and understanding what the shift that you made, because there was a significant shift not only in how you saw healing,
Mm-hmm.
but also in the methods in which you used for healing.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously one part of it you were heavily focused on science and medication and all these things, and then there was a shift and a learning curve in understanding the holistic side of care.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? For those who may not even understand holistic care and what that means, could you give us a bit of an explanation of that?
I would definitely try. My shift came from, again, I was depressed and I knew there was something better.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I was practicing healthcare. I felt like
Right.
practicing sickness care, you know?
Oh, yes.
It's always about this thing is broken, put a pill on it or cut it out. That's what medical do, right?
Mm,
Unfortunately, it's how we're taught. If something is not right, here's a pill for that, or we just cut that part out and we call it good.
mm,
Don't take the time to sit with the patients and teach them. I mean, it's been 11 years now since I've been in the medical arena, so I don't know what it's like now, but back then, you literally had 5 to 10 minutes with a patient. I'm
wow.
sorry, there is no way you're going to make
Yeah.
change in
Yeah.
that time frame, right?
Yeah.
And even I had my own medical practice, so I had the luxury of taking my time, but even that is just not enough time.
Enough. Yeah.
So the medical providers are trained to give a quick fix, and the patients are trained to want a quick fix.
Yeah.
So even when I had the time to sit down, they just said, give me that pill. You're telling me I have to do what?
Yeah. Because
A pill.
sorry to cut you off, but I find that most doctors or most persons in the medical field really just pull off of what you tell them. And there's a lot about what you don't tell them that could matter, right? So even in saying that, I appreciate you saying that so much in terms of time, spending that time and truly making that time meaningful,
Mhm.
because there's some things that patients don't say that could matter to the issue they're having.
For sure. And again, when you have 5 minutes with your doctor, how much can you truly share?
Exactly, yeah.
And most doctors, I'm sorry, I was guilty. And this is nurse practitioner and physician assistant and anybody in the medical field too. I'm not just picking on doctors. What we do before we enter a room is we look at the chart. And the nurse or the medical assistant has already written down a bunch of information. We already made our decision on the diagnosis before we walked in the room.
Before walking. Oh, okay.
I walked in to see you. I already know what I'm going to prescribe you.
Mm,
There are a lot of physicians and other medical providers that have the luxury of having the time to teach and all of that. But when your employer is expecting certain numbers and
yeah.
they book and overbook and double and triple book you, what can you do?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
not blaming the medical provider. The system has to change.
Yeah. It's kind of the culture of medicine in that sense, yeah.
Yes. And so with the way I was practicing medicine, it was Band-Aid medicine.
Mm,
You got something wrong, let me slap something on that to help you to feel better for the moment. We never got to the root. And then when I started discovering the holistic stuff, and for me, I mean, there's so many different, the holistic is such a big umbrella, but for me, what I do now and what I've learned and got trained in was how to help a person change the subconscious program of their mind.
mm,
To oversimplify, our mind, we have a bunch of program that's always running in the background.
right.
And, we're kind of like a computer. There's all these different programs running in the background. We're not aware which program is doing what. But when one of those programs got attacked by a virus, the system just doesn't work well.
Right.
That's where a lot of those mental health issues come from. That's where the depression, the anxiety, the panic attacks, the low self-esteem is there's a virus somewhere,
Yeah.
subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And using the tools that I learned, I'm able to help my client discover, where the virus is, and then do something about it to remove the virus. I mean, that's like totally oversimplification, but I think that example is clear for a lot of people because most of us are familiar with viruses and computers. But that's kind of the process, is really understanding what faulty program you have within your mind. And
That's
then
so powerful. Like I feel like I feel like even for me, like I as you said it, I thought about it. I was like, oh yes, a light bulb kind of went off. And how does that link to being a mindset mentor?
And so that's what all it is. For me, a mindset mentor is really about a person who can help and support a person
Mhm.
to understand and change their mind, and to really
Right.
adopt, embrace, and hold on to a new mindset, a powerful mindset, because whatever we say to ourselves becomes our reality.
Mm.
I mean, like, like that hypnosis I mentioned, the whoa, what? That can help people. We auto hypnotize ourselves all day long with our words.
Mm.
How
That's
many
deep.
times have you said, I can't do that thing, or I'm just this way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are auto suggestion, those are auto hypnosis. And the more time you tell yourself what you can't do, that becomes your identity.
Yeah. It's
So,
almost like you train your own mind to believe the fear and the doubt and the hurt and the, all the negative things that we don't want manifest because we constantly think about them or feed our brain to believe them, essentially.
exactly, exactly. And a lot of people don't realize how negative they are.
Right.
They think like, oh, I'm really positive. I have a great positive mindset. And then we start working together. And the stories that they tell themselves about themselves are so incredibly negative.
Right.
My husband and I, we started a podcast 2 years ago called Stop the Bully Within.
Nice.
Thank you. We did that because we wanted to give back. And, working in this field for as long as I have been, I realized everybody's biggest problem is that they are their biggest bully.
Mm.
You know,
Is your interpretation that persons bully themselves into believing or being guided by their own negative thoughts? Is that what you're saying?
oh, for sure. I mean, think about how many times you call yourself a name or put yourself down after you made a mistake or quote unquote fell at doing something, right?
Mm.
If you use the exact same words talking to somebody else, you would be a bully, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, how many times do we tell ourselves, we're not good enough to do that? We're not pretty enough or skinny enough or talented enough or have enough money or any of those other stories we tell ourselves all day long, right?
Long. Yeah.
And when we make a mistake, like, imagine like you went to me and you say, Jacqui, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I did the most stupidest thing at work and now they're going to fire me. And then
Mm.
you said, well, you deserve to be fired. You're stupid. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You would never say that to anybody else,
Say
but you
that.
say it to
True.
yourself,
True.
right?
Yeah.
And
True.
so, but the thing is, the inner bully is something that a lot of people are terrified of, like that negative talk, that constant, inner critic is holding me back. And they think of the inner critic as something that they need to fight or something they need to be afraid of. But the reality of the thing is that inner critic in you was there to protect you.
Yeah.
Your inner critic is your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind's biggest job is to keep you quote unquote safe, right?
Right.
And so physically safe is doing all of the bodily function, your heart, your kidney, your liver, it's working. You don't have to think about that, so that you stay physically safe. Emotionally safe, unfortunately, to the subconscious mind is stay exactly the way you are. Don't change. That's what
Right.
safe means, right? Because to the subconscious mind, if you try to change, you will get hurt. Not might. If you
Yeah.
try to change, you will get hurt. You will get rejected. You will fail. People will make fun of you. It's going to hurt like crazy. And your subconscious mind loves you so much and don't want you to suffer. And so it's doing everything it can to keep you in that tiny little box
Bubble. Yeah. Yeah.
where you're quote unquote safe, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it's not doing that because it hates you or want to hurt you. It wants to keep you safe, but you don't want to be in this box because this box is miserable. It's a prison cell. And so
Mm.
you're constantly trying to climb out of that box and your subconscious mind stuffing you back down.
Yeah.
But once you realize your subconscious mind really is there to protect you and not to harm you, the way that you can interact with your subconscious mind can change dramatically. So I teach my client, and we do subconscious work, and then we
Right.
do conscious work too. So this part is the conscious part of it. I tell my clients, when they hear that voice of their inner bully, remember that inner bully is really a version of them, a young version of them, right? Girl 7 years old. And a little child, with their imagination, they're afraid of most everything.
Yeah.
That sock under the bed is a monster.
Yeah.
Right? And so your inner bully is this younger version of you that's trying its best to keep you safe. And the way that the little kids know how to be safe is to hide. It's like they're in fear. They're going to go in and hide. They're going to go hide in the corner. They're going to take the blanket and cover themselves. But if you hide, if you avoid doing that thing, if you stop, if you already started and you stop, then you avoid a catastrophe to your subconscious mind, right?
Yeah.
So when you hear that inner bully and you realize it's your younger self, and I want you to ask your younger self, I want you to think of this like this, actually. Your younger self is holding your hand and it's looking up at you. Are we safe? Can we go, forward? And your job is to, yeah, we can, right? And that's the self-talk part, because usually when the inner bully, the younger self, says, "Are we safe?" "No, we're not. We gotta hide. This is so scary.
Scary. Yeah.
And and so I want people to kind of take it back and just imagine they're talking to the younger self, and your younger self is terrified. How are you going to help your younger self through that situation?
But that's the thing, because I feel like in all you're saying is that in a way we haven't quite grown sufficiently enough in ourselves because of that voice or that mental reminder. And sometimes what we go through in our younger years impacts the mental reminders that we have as adults. So in reality, are we truly leading ourselves, or are we being led by our younger selves? Because that's what
Well, I would say we are led by our younger self
Mm,
constantly, until you get to that point when you realize, oh, I can do something different.
right.
And that's where the healing comes in. Like I was talking about conscious and subconscious work. I can help a person with conscious stuff all day long, and they will still be led by their younger self.
Self, yeah.
It's when you work on the subconscious mind, is when you work on healing the younger self, healing the story from your past, that you can now step into the leadership role as a grown woman.
Right.
Make decisions from that place of strength, because that little girl, I know we're talking about girls with men too.
Yeah.
But that little girl is going to react with fear until you heal and you reassure her that she is safe. And then at that point, she can be young again. She can be innocent. She can be curious. She can be playful. Think about how many of us, when we're trapped in these negative emotional state, we forget how to play.
Yeah.
We forget that little girl in us, because that fear has become this big old monster that has taken over everything. But once we heal that side of us and we allow the truth of us to come out, and the truth of us is we were all born perfect little beings, right? We were full of imaginations and curiosity, and we would be willing to try everything. And then life happens to us, an adult put fear into us, and then we forget that part of ourselves, and we hold, we take on the fear that we've been taught, and then that becomes where we react from.
Right.
So we can just remember our truth by healing our stories. Then we can create this life where it's magical. You asked me earlier, like with COVID, how are you happy? It's because I'm healed. My mind, not always. My mind is more often than not focused on the good.
Right.
Like, I can walk into the worst situation and I can still see positives.
Right.
My mind is so trained to do that. And a lot of the hurt and the fear are gone and is replaced with love, and it's replaced with hope, and it replaced with positivity. So the lens that I wear will become my experience, and my lens are all, no, I wish my lens are primarily amazing lenses at this point. You know, I'm able to see the beautiful colors and stuff, and a lot of that dark lenses are gone.
Right. Jacqui, this has been amazing. This has actually been, because it's been interesting to look at the leadership lens through the holistic care, and how that could actually play a big or massive role in how we think, see ourselves, and what we think we can even achieve from kind of navigating the youthful part of our mind that hasn't quite shifted as yet. Um, so I want to thank you so much, and I kind of want to end with this one thing.
Okay.
If for that person who's listening and is really in the process of growing, is they're in a growth spur, or they're at the moment where they are going to shift, and they're not quite sure what steps to take, or what is the next move they should make, and how they can kind of readjust their mindset enough to make the next step. Which of your books works best? Which of your books can they say, you know what, I need this content? Talk to me about which book they can get and where they can get them from.
Okay, so the second book is my best-selling book, and I
Okay.
think that is a really good starting point, and I think most people agree that's why it's the best-selling book of the three. It's called I Would, But My Damn Mind Won't Let Me.
Ah, okay.
And it's basically what we talked about, you know, how our mind holds us back until we realize we are the boss of our minds, and we get to make the decision and be the leader. Instead of letting the subconscious mind lead us constantly, we get to decide where we want to go and what to do to create that reality that we're looking for. And in that book, it talks about the 4 belief systems that we all have that causes every single problem on this world, in this earth. 4 problems, super easy.
Right.
So yeah, that would be a great place to start, is just really, how does your mind work? How does your thought create your reality? And how can you change your thoughts in a way that would motivate you to take that next step on your behalf?
Nice.
And book 3 is also a great resource. Book 3 is called, I just changed the name of the book. It's called Jumpstart Your Confidence. And it's a really good book because it tells you, I talk about 7 inner superpowers that we all have.
Right.
And how to tap into these superpowers and how to use them to really be very confident. But it's that the 7 superpowers I picked, we have like tons and tons of them, but I picked 7 to share in this book, because these 7, if you understand them, if you know how to use them, the fear and self-doubt, gone.
Go away. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. And where can persons find them?
Easiest way is on Amazon,
Okay.
Amazon.com. Look up my name, Jacqui Letran, and will you have links?
Awesome. So thank you so much for that. I feel like we've taken a lot from this, especially regarding how you can kind of start to see a way in shifting from not only your mindset, but shifting the techniques that you use. And I think Jacqui's the perfect person, so make sure you contact Jacqui, because she's an amazing mindset mentor, and she's going to be able to help you to heal holistically. With that said, I appreciate you for being on the episode. This has been LeadHer Shift. She's another element or part of the LeadHer Shift family, and I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was so much fun.
And until next time, guys, we have more episodes coming up with some dynamic women from around the world. Stay tuned. Now, if this episode spoke to you, share it. Don't keep it a secret. Don't gatekeep. Send it to that woman who you know needs to hear. You are not alone. And your leadership still matters. I'll repeat that. You are not alone. And your leadership matters. And wherever you listen, please subscribe to the LeadHer Shift Podcast or head on over to our website, theleadhershift.com, to connect with us there. This movement is about more than just leadership. It's about building something better. I'd love to hear your story because your voice matters, because the world is ready for your authority. The question is, are you?